with a A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau since 2006 in America. I wanted to talk a little bit today about going to the bank and borrow money. There's so many people out there that go to these finance companies when they should be going to the bank or their credit union. I think sometimes you're just a little worried because of how big it is and what it seems to you. But just remember, you always end up in a little 8 by 8 square room, which is called an office, with one person that's going to go over your credit with you and talk about you getting a loan. And that would be a loan officer. Once you get there, if you go to the bank, first thing you should do, or credit union, you should open up an account. If you're planning on borrowing any money, make sure you have a little bit of money in the bank. You really need to show them that you have access to cash and that you get a check each week or each month, however you get paid. Of course, you can't get a loan if you don't have any type of income. You're automatic denial. You can't just go in there and make up something because they're probably going to want you to prove if it's your first loan. So what's going to happen is you go in, you open you up a checking account or a savings account. You're going to get you a debit card. What I would suggest is start having what we call internal credit. That would be going to the bank, inputting every week or 2 weeks, however you get paid, a certain portion of your paycheck. You know, it used to be the old saying, even in the Bible says 10% you're supposed to give to the church. Well, why don't you take the 10% and give it to yourself and put it in your bank and forget about it. It all depends how fast you're needing a loan. If you need a loan immediately, chances are you're going to have a cosigner if you have no credit. But let's talk about establishing credit. So you go in, you open up a checking and savings account, you start putting a little bit of money in there, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long you can last, and put as much money as you can each week. Show persistency, the same amount each time. This shows that you're willing to save some money and you're willing to put some money in the bank. You go back to the loan officer and say you have $500. Go back to the loan officer, tell the loan officer you'd like to get a starter loan so you can start building your credit. Not just walk in there and borrow $10 or $15, $20,000 for an automobile. You're going to have to build your credit. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put in, you're going to get a starter loan. More than likely, they're going to put a hold on the money that you've got in the bank. They need some type of guarantee. They're not just going to hand you $500 because you say you'll pay them back. That don't always work. Too much of a percentage of them never pay the $500 back and ruin their credit over a little bit of $500, that little measly money. So you're going to get the loan, put in for the loan. She's going to tell you, give her a few minutes. She's going to come back and tell you she's going to have to hold on to your money, let you make 12 payments on it, set you up on a monthly payment thing, sign you up with a pretty decent interest rate if you go to a credit union or a bank. Now, if you just walk into the finance company, they'll be more than happy to loan you the money, but it's more likely going to be 25, 28, 29% interest, which is too much. You almost start paying too much back. It's also put on what we call compound interest. For in other words, you walk in there today at 28% interest on a $500 note, your payback is going to be about $750, $780. You walk back in there the following week and go, look, I just want to go ahead and pay it off because you think you're going to save that money on that interest. They don't want the $500 plus a few days. They want the whole thing, $780. That's what we call compound interest. Banks and credit unions use what we call simple interest. You borrow $500 a day. Tomorrow you'll owe them $501, depending on what the interest rate is. Maybe $502. Maybe the interest grows on $502 a day. So at the end of the month, when it comes payment time, you're going to owe them, let's say if it's $2 a day, you'll owe them $560. You take and you make your payment of $80, $85, $100, whatever it is you're going to pay. Well, you're going to pay the interest first, which is the $60, and then you're going to pay some towards back the balance of it, what's left. Anyway, you're going to make constant payments on that until you get this loan paid off. I would suggest paying 4 or 5 payments on it. Once the 4 or 5 payments,
10:30, so in about a
and
minute.
I've got
Keep going. Thank you.
I've got a webinar I have to do, so I have to come back and do this again some more. Why for life? I don't want to be